Deep in the ancient forests of the Northwest, where the first rays of sunlight barely pierce through the dense canopy, lives a creature that anyone who has ever heard of it must fear. It is the hornet, the most aggressive and terrifying insect in the mountain wilderness. These are not the gentle honeybees that flutter around flowers. Hornets are the true rulers of the forest. With their large bodies, powerful wings, and stingers filled with venom strong enough to bring down a grown man after just a few stings, they reign supreme. They build their nests in the most dangerous places, inside rock crevices, under the roots of giant old trees, or deep within decayed soil, places where humans are never meant to go. They are fierce, highly sensitive, and will attack anyone who dares to invade their territory. Yet, it is exactly this ferocity that makes them so valuable. Forest dwellers call hornet larvae the white gold of the mountains, a rare delicacy unlike anything else. The plump, creamy white larvae are rich in nutrients and sought after across the region. A single nest can hold thousands of larvae, but to get them, humans must pay with blood, breath, and sometimes their very lives. Every hornet hunt is a real battle. Forest hunters must watch the direction the hornets fly, listen carefully to their buzzing to locate the nest. Once they find it, they light smoke, weave through clouds of ash and fire, and inch closer to the nest. Just one shift in the wind, or a sudden loud noise, and the furious swarm bursts out like a storm, attacking without mercy. Some have had to flee into the forest, their bodies swollen, some fainting from the stings, yet they always return, because that gift of the wild is more precious than anything else. In today's video, we will follow the brave forest hunters of the Northwest. Fearless men who venture deep into the jungle, facing the most dangerous hornets on the planet to harvest this rare delicacy. Hornet larvae. It is a breathtaking journey where a single mistake could cost them their lives. In that silent, ancient forest, only two forces truly rule: nature and the hornets. Humans, no matter how experienced, are merely intruders, humbly asking permission to step into their world. The hornet. A creature so feared that just hearing its buzzing deep in the forest is enough for any woodsman to stop moving, stay still, and keep his distance. This is one of the most aggressive wasp species in the tropics. It has a muscular body, striking yellow and black stripes, and thick wings that hum like a fan every time it flies. Each adult hornet measures about 3/4 to 1 inch long, with a large head, sharp jaws, and a stinger loaded with venom many times stronger than that of a honeybee. A single sting can burn and swell the skin, leaving a piercing pain that lasts for hours. For those allergic to venom, just a few stings can be enough to knock them unconscious in the middle of the forest. They never build their nests at random. Every hornet nest is constructed with precision and strength, like a miniature fortress. It is usually found inside rock crevices, under earthen overhangs, or on tall branches far out of human reach. The nest is made up of multiple layers, each containing hundreds of tightly packed hexagonal cells built from natural wax. At the center lies the queen's chamber, the only one capable of reproduction and the true ruler of the colony. Surrounding her are hundreds of worker and soldier hornets, always on alert. At the slightest movement, they burst out in a dense swarm, attacking anything that comes within their defensive zone. Unlike most bee species, hornets are true predators. Their main food is not pollen but other insects. Grasshoppers, butterflies, spiders, and even smaller bees. They paralyze their prey with venom, cut it into pieces, and carry it back to the nest to feed the larvae. This protein-rich diet allows hornet larvae to grow fast, plump, and incredibly nutritious. During each breeding cycle, the queen lays hundreds of eggs, carefully sealed within the cells. When the season arrives, the nest is filled with thousands of white, chubby larvae packed tightly together like pearls. That is when forest hunters begin their search. What they are after is precisely those larvae, the most precious gift of the jungle. Hornet larvae are considered an irreplaceable delicacy. The meat is rich, creamy, and tender, with a light, milky aroma. Local people often roast them over charcoal, stir-fry them with lime leaves, or soak them in rice wine to make a tonic. In traditional Eastern medicine, hornet larvae are believed to strengthen the immune system, nourish the blood, and boost vitality. Although science has not confirmed all of these claims, in terms of protein and amino acid content, hornet larvae truly are one of nature's most nutrient-dense foods. Such great value always comes with danger. No one dares to underestimate these insects. Whenever a nest is found, the forest hunter must first study the wind direction, plan an escape route, and only approach once the smoke is ready. A single mistake, and within seconds the entire swarm will storm out like a hurricane, attacking without mercy. The scars on the hunter's arms and necks are silent proof of those close encounters with death. The hornet, small in size, yet it carries the raw power of the wild. It is the ruler of everything within its territory, the terror of all other insects, and at the same time, a source of life. A precious treasure that humans in the deep forest must earn through blood and courage. Deep in the dense forests of the Northwest, where sunlight barely filters through the thick canopy, the forest hunters begin their search for the traces of hornets. There are no maps, no GPS devices. The only things they rely on are their experience and their sharp eyes, honed through decades of living side by side with the wilderness. They stand silently in an open patch of ground, eyes fixed on the sky, tracking every faint flight path that flickers through the sunlight. Hornets never fly in a straight line. They move in arcs, sometimes climbing high, sometimes gliding low, then vanishing into the forest. The hunter has only a few seconds to memorize the direction before the insect disappears. Every movement must be slow and careful. Even snapping a dry twig could alert the hornets, make them change their route, or become cautious, turning an entire day's effort into nothing. Once the direction is clear, they use a traditional method passed down for generations, releasing a guide hornet. A small bamboo tube, pierced with tiny holes and coated inside with wild honey or forest sugar, is placed where hornets are known to pass by. When a hornet lands to feed, the hunter gently seals the opening, letting it drink until it is full and calm. Then he opens the tube and watches closely. The hornet never flies randomly. It always takes the shortest path back to its nest to deliver the honey. That is the moment when the real tracking begins. The hunter quietly follows the hornet's flight path. Each time he loses sight of it, he stops, waits, and watches again. Sometimes an entire morning passes just to trace a few dozen more yards of flight. Sweat soaks through his shirt. Mosquitoes buzz around his ears. Yet no one complains. Tracking hornets is not just a job. It is a test of patience. One small mistake, one hurried step, and the trail could vanish completely, forcing them to start all over again. At times, to be more certain, they release another guide hornet further along the path. Step by step, every breeze, every sunbeam piercing through the leaves becomes a clue. When the hornets finally vanish into the same cluster of trees, the hunters know the nest is close, perhaps inside a hollow trunk or deep within a rocky crevice ahead. At that moment, no one speaks. The entire forest falls into absolute silence. Only the whisper of wind through the leaves, the distant chirping of insects, and the faint rhythm of human breathing fill the air as they close in on a fierce creature hidden in the wild. The hunter's eyes scan every trunk, every cliff face, searching for the telltale signs. A layer of pale yellow wax, bits of soil around a hole, or the faint hum echoing from within. When a hornet suddenly bursts out of hiding, they freeze, holding their breath, listening. The closer they get, the louder the buzzing becomes, resonating like the sound of a tiny engine in the still air. Their hearts pound faster, adrenaline surges. They know the nest is just ahead. The forest holds its breath. Only the sound of wings slicing through the air breaks the silence. In that moment, time itself seems to stop. The chase between man and nature has reached its most intense point. They do not know exactly what awaits them, only that if they have made it this far, there is no turning back. After many hours of following the hornet's flight paths, the forest hunter finally spots a clear sign. On the trunk of an old cotton tree, towering more than 30 feet high, a large dark brown sphere stands out. That is the hornet's nest. The nest is round, about the size of a large cooking pot, made up of multiple spiral layers built from chewed wood fibers and wax, all bonded together with the hornet's saliva. Its outer surface is dry and porous, designed to insulate against heat and repel rain. Looking closely, you can see worker hornets flying in and out through a small opening at the bottom, the main entrance to their fortress. Around the nest, hundreds of hornets are on patrol. Some fly in wide circles, while others perch on branches, vibrating their wings constantly to create a warning buzz. Hornets are extremely territorial. The moment they sense an unusual vibration or a strange scent, they will swarm out and attack anything that enters their defensive zone. The hunter stands still, maintaining a safe distance while carefully observing the wind's direction. If the wind blows toward the nest, the human scent will drift their way, a deadly mistake, because hornets can detect unfamiliar odors instantly. He must wait for the air to settle, usually in the late afternoon, when the swarm's activity starts to slow down. The forest grows so silent that the only sound left is the faint brush of wings colliding in mid-air. Every step must be deliberate and quiet. On the ground, the hunter searches for a nearby refuge, a large tree trunk or a rock mound, a place to duck for cover should the hornets suddenly launch an attack. This is the most critical moment before approaching the nest. One loud noise, one wrong movement, and the entire swarm will turn violent, attacking relentlessly until they believe the threat is gone. In the stillness of the deep forest, the hunter lowers his gaze, studying the climb ahead. The nest looms roughly 30 feet above, yet every single foot of that ascent is a test of skill and nerve. The hornet's fortress is right before him, and he has only one chance to make his move safely. A forest hunter always knows that approaching a hornet's nest is not just a task, it is a ritual. One small mistake could mean serious injury, so every action must follow a familiar sequence, a lesson etched into memory through generations. First, he chooses a small clearing, a few dozen yards away from the nest, where he can observe clearly without the wind blowing his scent toward it. From his bamboo backpack, he takes out the necessary tools: a long pole to reach the nest, a small knife, a thick fabric sack, a few bundles of dry leaves, and a handful of charcoal carefully kept dry inside a bamboo tube. There is no modern equipment here, only simple, time-tested tools, enough to protect himself and complete the job. Once everything is ready, the hunter gathers the dry leaves into a small pile, lights them, and then places a few fresh green branches on top to create smoke. Thin white smoke begins to rise, curling gently into the air, carrying the faint earthy scent of the forest. This is not an act of aggression, but a gesture of respect, a quiet offering to nature, as if to say, "I am here not to destroy, but only to ask for a small share of what nature provides." The smoke slowly drifts toward the nest. High above, the hornets flutter their wings and slow their flight. Many gather around the entrance, cautious but not yet hostile. The hunter remains silent, waiting. He studies their movement, senses the direction of the wind, the thickness of the smoke, and only when he feels the swarm has calmed does he take a few careful steps forward. Every motion is slow and deliberate. He sets the pole to one side, ties the mouth of the sack, and secures the knife to his belt. In this moment, the only sounds are the faint crackle of burning leaves, the whisper of smoke, and the steady heartbeat of a man blending with the pulse of the forest. Everything falls into silence, as if the world itself is holding its breath. In that sacred space, a human stands before a giant hornet's nest, not to conquer nature but to coexist with it. When the smoke has spread evenly around the nest, the forest hunter begins his climb. He chooses the direction where the wind is in his favor, moving slowly, gripping the tree trunk he has carefully studied beforehand. His left hand steadies the smoking pole, while his right hand clings to the rough bark. Every step must be secure, because one broken branch or a single slip could trigger the hornet's furious attack. When he is just a few yards away, about 2 or 3 meters, he stops. He raises the smoking pole closer to the nest, releasing gentle puffs of smoke to avoid startling the swarm. A few hornets still circle in the air, but their movement has slowed. Others cling to the nest, their wings vibrating lightly in warning. He wraps his collar tightly with his sleeve, and his face is covered with a thick cloth. Every gap in his clothing has been checked in advance. Once he sees that the hornets have scattered, he draws his knife and carefully cuts through the branch that anchors the nest. The blade moves smoothly, precise and deliberate. One hand steadies the nest while the other supports it from below, preventing it from falling and breaking its fragile layers. The whole process lasts only a few minutes, yet it demands absolute focus. As soon as the nest is free, he quickly lowers it into a thick fabric sack and ties the mouth tightly to stop any remaining hornets from escaping. Then, following the route he planned earlier, he descends the tree, On the ground, the small pile of smoldering leaves continues to release a thin veil of smoke that drifts through the air, keeping the rest of the hornets calm above. When the nest rests safely on the forest floor, the hunter takes his knife and gently peels away the outer shell. Inside, the wax layers are neatly stacked, revealing clusters of pale, creamy white larvae hidden within. He removes them carefully, in small sections, so as not to crush them. The reward for hours of patient tracking, climbing, and precise handling. Each nest yields only a limited amount of larvae. The rest is left untouched, so the colony can rebuild and continue its cycle of life. An unspoken rule among forest hunters, ensuring that nature still has room to thrive. The day ends as the sun begins to sink behind the trees. Sweat, smoke, and the rhythm of weary breaths blend together, but the hunter's eyes remain calm. Another day passes in the forest, where every harvest is a test of courage, patience, and the eternal balance between humankind and the will to survive. When the hornet's nest is brought back, the forest hunter chooses an open patch of ground by the stream, where the breeze is gentle and the water runs cool. He builds a small fire using dry twigs gathered from the forest floor. Thin curls of smoke rise into the air, carrying the scent of burning wood mixed with the earthy aroma of the late afternoon forest. The nest is placed on a large banana leaf. With careful hands, he separates each wax layer, revealing rows of soft, milky white larvae, plump and delicate. The larvae are sorted with precision. Those that have darkened or dried are set aside, leaving only the freshest ones for cooking. The hunter can prepare them in several ways: grilled, stir-fried, or steamed, depending on what the forest provides. If grilled, the larvae are skewered on a bamboo stick and placed over glowing embers. As the heat seeps in, the hornet fat begins to melt, dripping onto the coals with a faint hiss. The air fills with a rich, nutty aroma, smoky, sweet, and unmistakably wild. If stir-fried, he heats a small cast-iron pan, adds a spoonful of forest fat, then tosses in the larvae with a pinch of salt and a few slices of wild lime leaf. The dish cooks quickly, just a few minutes, but the timing must be perfect, for the larvae are fragile and can burst easily. No elaborate seasoning is needed, just a sprinkle of salt and a handful of finely cut lime leaves. The taste is creamy and slightly nutty, with a gentle sweetness that lingers, the flavor of the forest itself. For the mountain people, this isn't merely food. It is a well-earned reward after a day spent facing danger and uncertainty. The meal is served simply, beside the fire. The stream murmurs softly nearby. The leaves rustle in the breeze. Smoke drifts through the fading sunlight. Each bite of hornet larva carries more than flavor. It holds the mark of a craft, of patience, and of a deep, quiet understanding between humankind and nature. As the sun sinks behind the distant mountain ridges, the forest returns to its quiet self. The journey of harvesting hornet larvae ends in the lingering scent of smoke clinging to a sleeve, in the faraway gaze of the forest worker. They do not speak much, only pack up their tools in silence, then follow the familiar trail home. For them, Each trip into the forest is more than a way to earn a living. It is a lesson in how to live in harmony with nature. Every nest, every branch teaches patience, the art of restraint, of taking only what is needed. The forest has its own laws. Those who respect its limits will always find trees, hornets, and life. Hornet larvae, the forest's gift, are more than food. They are the reward of experience, of steady hands and quiet labor, of sweat and the simple belief that if one lives gently with the earth will never turn its back. When the forest worker's figure fades into the distance, the woods begin to hum again, the sound of peace after a long day. And somewhere in the drifting wind lingers the faint scent of smoke, of sap, and of human warmth amid the vast wilderness.